This is my shower that I'm remodeling, and this is the bench here, this is the curb, and this is the quick slope. And what you see here, which is a quick pitch, it helped me to set or to construct the quick slope. And if you look here very carefully, you can see actually the color is gray. The gray is actually a PVC. It's going from here around the curve and going under the quick slope and actually reach until to this point here and actually waterproof this shower. It makes sure that all the water will go eventually to the drain. What I want to talk about today is about the curve here. And as you can see, this curve has a diamond mesh, as I said before. This diamond mesh you can buy on Home Depot or Lowe's. This curve is constructed from concrete. It's 6-inch high and 4-inch width. Okay? So the only way to continue here is I have to float it with concrete around the curve. And that's what I want to show today, how to float this kind of curve to achieve a maximum result. So the first thing you've done before you start any work, especially in construction, so the cleaning is very important before you actually start to put this mortar, floating this curve to the successful of this project. So these are the tools that I'm going to use for this project to float the curve. And the first tool is actually a trowel. It's a special trowel. That's the way it looks like. And this trowel you can actually buy from Home Depot, Lowe's, and it's especially for mortar. This trowel I'm going to use just to mix the mortar, and this is a finished trowel. I'm actually going to use it to work a finished mortar. This is a scratcher that I'm going to use in the first coat. The first coat is going to call the scratcher coat. Okay, this is the edger that I might use at the end of the process. And this is another trowel that I maybe use, but most likely not. And if you look here, that's a green foam float. And I'm going to use probably at the end just to make the finish look nice. And the other thing that I want to talk about is the mortar I'm going to use. This is called 3701 fortified mortar bed. It's a special mortar for floating mesh diamond or mesh. And what I want to say about it is it's come already with polymer, and you don't need to be a wizard or some kind of a smart mixing with sand. You just take this mortar, mix it with water, and you will get the best result you ever needed, because this fortified mortar bed gives you 4000 psi strength. You cannot go wrong with that. So this is done by a company called Creek, and it's one of the best companies in the market now for mortar and tin sets. So before I apply this mortar, I just want to show you that I actually protect my porcelain tile here for the mortar, because I have to put a number of coats, 2 coats at least. So better to cover your tiles and protect them from this mortar. So now I'm going to mix the mortar, which is the 3701 fortified mortar, and you have to mix it to get to the plastic consistency. And if you look at the instruction of the manufacturer, you will understand that you need to put roughly 3.4 liters, which is probably 0.9 gallon, per 60 pounds. If you make the calculation, you will find out that is roughly 56 milliliter per pound. So I already have with me 8 pounds of mortar, So it's roughly half a liter. So I'm going to put half a liter here. And I'm going to put now the 8 pound that I prepare here. Okay, and why I put 8 pound, don't go too much, because if you're going to 20 pound in one shot, it will dry quick. So don't try to run over yourself. What you're doing here now, I'm actually slowly mix it. And I can use mixer, just mix it in the beginning and then add more. Okay. Remember, what I need here is a plastic consistency. I need to add a little bit more water to reach to this consistency. So I'm adding a little bit of water here. And I will continue. And I can see I reached to this consistency. And now I'm actually going to stop and apply it on the curve. So if you look at it now, actually, I mix it, and it's quite plastic consistency. You can see if I put it like this, you see it's all. And that's the way you actually find if it's okay or not. You can see it's all there, so that's the right consistency. Now remember, that's like a stucco, that's not a fat mud. That's a stucco, and actually you need at least 2 applications, which means at least 2 coat. You can have more than 2 coat, but for my application, I think 2 coat is going to be enough. Okay, so now what I did, I actually put some of the mortar here on this tray, like stucco really, and I'm going to press it. I'm going to press it to the surface here, which is the mesh. It should be probably 1/4 of an inch, that's enough. Let's put it here and just press it. Okay? You can see what I'm doing here. So remember what happened here, there is a space between the mesh and the PVC, and mortar actually going inside. The space is probably 1/8 of an inch. So the mortar going inside, you can see how nice it looks like when it's sitting, okay? And I'm going to continue putting more. Here's a little bit of mortar that I really want to put here. So the techniques here, to put mortar on this or on any other surface and just to press it strongly inside the mesh. So that's the second time I'm doing it from the bottom. Okay, and you're going up. And with this, press it. Okay? And remember, it doesn't need to be more than 3/8 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch is excellent here. And you will achieve it because of the space in the mesh, between the space between the PVC and the mesh. There is a small space, and the mortar actually going inside. So the first coat, all the mortar will be mostly inside between the mesh and the PVC, and probably 1/8 of an inch. So it's going to be really 1/4 of an inch. So that's the way it's look, if you can look at that on this tray. And I'm going actually to force it to go to the mesh. Okay, and I force it with this trowel. So first I put it. It's difficult to see what I'm doing here. But I press it strongly. And I press it strongly. Then I use the trowel to go in. Okay? Now don't worry about this side. I'm going to take care of it later. The most important thing now is this side. Okay, you see how nice it looks. When you look at it, it's very nice. And it's very easy to do. Really very easy. Remember, you have to press it inside. I'm going to continue with that to the other section. So this is the last section of this side. And the same approach, force it down. And with the tray, just force it in. I'm using the tray as a tool, but it's good. Then I'm using this trowel to really force the mortar in. Okay? Wherever they're missing, just put more. I need to take more a little bit. Okay, so what you can see, I actually put a little bit more here. And here, I'm using this kind of wood just to make sure that if the mortar is not rich and it's level. So I don't really level the mortar with, I just see if it's okay. So I just put it here between these 2 points. Okay, so it's look good. And the other thing I can use now, I can use in this float, if you can see it here, just to float it. Okay, this is actually smooth. That's the first coat. Just remember, I need to put another coat here. So if I'm going to show you here what's going on, so you can see it. It's already done here also. So only use metal float here. That's not a fat mud. You must use only metal float, trowel. And that's, you have to force it in. Force it in. Okay, so this is the first coat here that I put. I'm going to continue to put here. Here is actually simple to put. So here what I'm doing, if you look at it, what's left here, and I just put it here, and I press it. Okay? I press it in. And it's very easy to press it because this is a plastic consistency. So it's very easy to play with it. It's no problem. When you press it, it's just going flat. So it looks like I'm not going to have enough to fill up everything. So I have to make another piece, another mortar, probably mixing mortar, but I'll try to do my best. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm not touching this side because this side is already finished. And just remember, there's the first coat. And I touch it with my hand to see if it's dry a little bit, because when it's going to be dry, I'm going to scratch it. That's a very important part of this process. You can see what I'm doing here on the top. And here, I'll put here more mortar. Sometimes it's tricky, and you really have to be consistent. So I'm actually using this edger, if you can see here, which I can, let me see if which I can actually use in here. Okay? Just to make sure that we proper. So before I'm going to prepare a little bit more mortar, I actually want to show that I'm actually almost completed. Okay. the only part left is here in the corners, as you can see in here. So again, what you're doing here with this, you just force it with this trowel inside to the mesh. Okay, but remember it should be at least 1/4 of an inch, the width of it. You can take this and start moving it also, just to smooth it. Same thing here, that already I did. It's actually starting to dry here, so I don't need to touch it. But what I want to do, I'm going to use this wood again, just to see if everything is sustained, if it's okay. And for me, it's look quite okay. This only area here, you can see I have to remove a little bit. And here, so this is the area that I have to remove. And actually, will mark it with my finger here, and I will a little bit play with it, just force it to be less muddy. So I want to show you what I'm doing with this piece of stick. This stick is level, it's very level and flat. As you can see, when I put it here, I can see the space here, and that's a 1/4 of an inch. If you look here, there's a 1/4 of an inch space, that's okay. Kind of a 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch. And it's important that we're going to have here a level stuff, because we need to have here tiles. So, and secondly, we need to put a second coat. So this is what is called spaces for the second coat to put here. Okay, so I just fill up another mortar I just prepared, and you see there are here areas where I want to fill up. So this is a little bit tricky. What I'm doing, I'm using this cloth, this trowel, finished trowel, and put it here, and I'm using a mortar, put it here, and just force it inside. See what I'm doing here? Okay, so I move it here like this. So you can see how nicely it's filled up. It's filled up the corner here. Okay, so I'm going to continue using the new mortar. Okay, and just force it in. Remember, that's the first coat. So the second coat I'm going to level here. So the first coat is just, there's the first coat that's called the scratch coat. We put the mortar inside and just flat it. And here again, the same thing here. I want to fill it up in a corner. So you need to be patient here. And with this kind of a work, you need a lot of patience to get a very nice work done. It will take time. But believe me, after you finish it, look how nice it looks like now. After you finish, you'll be proud of yourself. You see what I'm doing here? And now, even this coat, when it's going to be dry, it's going to be so strong, unbelievable, because it's full of polymer. Here is another area which I want to fill up with mortar. And gently, really here you need to make gently to push it in a corner. Don't use power here, just gently pull it here. Because this is a very tricky place, corner. After you pull it, you can actually stretch it. It's very easy to work with it. See, here I have too much material, so I can just remove and move it here. Remember, this coat probably going to be between 1/4 of an inch to 1/3 of an inch. You cannot put more than 1/3 of an inch because it's not going to sustain. This is exactly working like stucco. You put the first coat and then you scratch it and you put the second coat. Same thing here. As you can see, there is another area here which I have to go and fill it up with mortar. And don't be afraid to put too much mortar, so it's very easy to remove it. And there is a lot of time until it dries again. So you can actually just press it and press it like I'm doing here. You can see. And remember, just move it to the left like I'm doing here. You see? You know how nice it looks like now? Okay, so I'm going to continue pushing the material. See, there is more material here, so I'm actually going slowly to remove it. Okay, here's the material. Don't need it, put it here. It really demands a lot of patience and smoothing. But remember, the first coat, it's not so important to become perfect, because there is always second coat, and the second coat is important. You see what I'm doing? I actually force the material in and flat it. Very important to flat it. And now here, if I have too much material, it's going back to the box. Okay. So I just want to show you, I'm actually putting it in water, just a little bit, putting in water, and I'm moving it a little bit, and that's smooth. It's really smooth area, nicely. By the way, I already built it in such a way that the curve has a slope 1/8 of an inch toward the shower. But anyway, when we're going to put the second coat, I have to make sure there is a slope of the curve toward the shower, that if water coming here and around on the curve, they will go down to the shower and not to the floor here. Okay, so I'm going to continue to put more here. There's no big deal. And just remember, that's not fat mud. This is something like stucco. I will call it a bed mud.
Not a fat mud.
You see, I put a little bit more on top. I'm putting a little bit more on top of the curve because it's needed a little bit more. So the work almost finished. I'm just going to put here now, but you cannot see it, so I'm going to put it and show you the end result. And I'm going to use the same approach I used before. Just force the mortar toward on the mesh here and let it dry. So I almost finished it. Just want to show you how I'm using this edger. Just put it here and slightly move it around the edges. And also here. Okay, so it's actually finished, and if you look at it, it's not really perfect. It's almost perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect. That's the reason, because now I'm going to scratch it, and because it's the first coat, and the first coat should never be perfect. It should be at least 1/4 of an inch. It should be flat, but not perfect. The second coat should be flat and almost perfect. So let me show you what I'm doing now. I have to scratch it in order to prepare it for the second coat. So when I'm going to scratch it, I'm going to scratch it here, because this is already almost dry, but this is just wet. So I'm going to scratch it here with my scratcher. I'll show you now. Before I'm going to scratch, I just want to show you how flat it is. So I touch here, you can see it's almost flat. Here it's quite level. Okay, I want to show you here. You can see it's level. Okay, and on the other side, with the one side is also. So it's not perfect, it's flat, and it's level on top. And we're going to make it better in the second coat. But now what we're going to do is going to scratch. So I'm going to use these tools, you see, I bought it from Amazon, to scratch the mortar here around the curve. And I really start from here. If you can see, I'm actually quite strongly stretch it. Okay. So why it's important to scratch it? Because I'm going to put the second coat, and it's actually almost dry. It's quite dry, so I have to really scratch it strongly. Okay, and I'll continue to scratch it from the other side. Okay, so look what I'm doing here. Look what happened here. Don't worry. You're going to fix it, because this is still wet, so that's why. So probably I have to go even like this. It doesn't matter how you scratch it, but you have to scratch it. I scratch it here. Okay. So okay, by scratching it, what I actually created, I created a rough surface that the second coat is going to sit on it perfectly and going to stick to it. So let me fix this problem to actually create now, and I'll show you at the end of the scratching. Okay, so I finished scratching here, I fixed it, quite easy to fix. And now I'll try to scratch here, even if it's a little bit wet, but let's see how it will go. You can see it's going properly. So you can see I scratch it. Remember, I have to scratch it because that will guarantee that the second coat will be sitting attached to it properly. Okay, you can see the scratch. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same scratch here. Here it's a little bit not dry yet. Let me try. And by the way, the scratch is actually 1/8 of an inch. That's enough to create a rough area, really, that allow the second coat to attach properly to the first coat. So that's it, the scratching is finished. So now you can see it's not perfect. It looks rough. And that's the way really it should look. Okay, so now we have to wait at least 24 hours. It will get dry, it will get stronger, and then I'm going to put a second coat. So this is the scratch coat, and the second coat called the brown coat in stucco. Okay. Before I'm going, I just want to show you a close look on the scratch, the way it looks like. So you can see the scratch here, it's kind of a 1/8 of an inch, and the scratch on top. That's why I say it doesn't need to be perfect, because I'm going to scratch it. And now, in this area is quite fragile, especially on the top. As you saw before, how it's actually disintegrated when I touch it. But tomorrow, it's going, in 24 hours, it's going to look like a rock. It's going to be like a rock. So after 24 hours, I can apply the second coat and we'll see what's happened.